Hi, I'm Michael Rozbruch, and welcome to this week's episode of Taxman. We have a lot of good stuff for you this episode. We're going to be talking about what is the alternative minimum tax that everybody is hearing so much talk about these days. It's on the news, it's in the newspaper, it's on the internet. Congress is talking about it. What is the alternative minimum tax? For the last 15 years, as most of you know, I've been the founder and CEO of Tax Resolution Services Company. And we're a company that helps people that have tax problems. 1 in 6 Americans, nearly 17% of all American taxpayers, owe at least $1 to the IRS. A lot of those people are also facing audits or under audits. What we do is we're the mediation people between the taxpayer and the taxing authority, the IRS. We do a lot of offers and compromise, partial pay installment agreements, removal of tax liens, removal and lifting of wage garnishments and bank levies, innocent spouse defense, and audit defense. That's what we do. I've been doing that for 15 years, and prior to that, I was an accountant for about 30 years. And no, that's not right. I haven't been working for 48 years, but I'm not that old, everybody, believe me. It was about 18 years in the private sector before I started this. But anyway, let's get back to what is the alternative minimum tax. Well, back in the mid to late 70s, there were a lot of taxpayers making a lot of money and taking advantage of the then tax deductions and tremendous amounts of loopholes, especially oil and gas, tax shams, etc. And these people who were making a lot of money filed their returns and were liable for 0 income taxes. Well, Congress decided that that's not right because there are a lot of people that are paying taxes. So to even the playing field, they instituted what's called the alternative minimum tax. And the key word being minimum. They wanted to make sure that someone who had X amount of high income who took advantage of these deductions were not allowed to take advantage of all of these deductions, thereby limiting the amount that they could deduct, thereby equating them to pay more in federal income tax. So let's talk about what the alternative minimum tax looks like today. Today, if the Congress doesn't come along and do what they call a patch, which is an adjustment to the alternative minimum tax like everybody is talking about, middle income Americans, people earning $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year are going to fall into this net. And they're going to be paying more in taxes than they would if Congress doesn't do something to fix the alternative minimum tax. And what the alternative minimum tax allows is, it doesn't let you take deductions for state and local income taxes. If you have a large family, it doesn't allow you to take all the dependent credits for your wife and your children. It doesn't allow you to take deductions for medical expenses. So you could see now, if you're not allowed to take these deductions, how much more in income taxes you're going to be required to pay. In years past, the IRS put this patch on that what it did was it made people who were paying $70,000 or $80,000 of income, they moved them out of the net. In other words, they weren't subject to the alternative minimum tax. The reason why it's such a big deal is it's never been adjusted for inflation. Remember, they enacted this in 1978 or 79, and every year beyond that, they've never adjusted the index for inflation. Unlike your regular income tax brackets, every year your income tax bracket is always adjusted for cost of living inflation adjustments, but not the AMT. And that's why Congress must pass this patch, this adjustment to the alternative minimum tax. Otherwise, 60 million people are going to be caught in this net, and they're not going to be happy about it. However, if you are caught in the net, there are still solutions and still answers for you. Let's say Congress doesn't act to fix the AMT, and you owe all this money. Now you can take advantage of offering compromise, partial pay installment agreements, innocent spouse defense. So there are other ways to get out from under if you get caught in this net. The IRS is always looking at ways to generate more money, especially given the state of the economy and the recession that we still find ourselves in. They're charged with doing two things, folks: assessing and collecting tax. And you need to be keenly aware that you have rights, that you can get representation. So stay tuned. We have a lot more great stuff coming up next for you. Don't go away. This is Taxman, and we're going to be right back.